Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Comic Book Nostalgia. I'm CB Nostalgia, and I wanted to talk about the mess going over at HBO Max and Warner Brothers Discovery. Well, yesterday was a pretty big blow for many of us fans. We found out that the upcoming Batgirl movie, the one we've been covering extensively and looked pretty good, has been totally canceled. It won't be going to theaters, and it won't be going to HBO Max. And this left most fans, myself included, completely bewildered on what's going on. Now, we had a few details yesterday, but now it appears this is a much wider net at the network, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on and how it could possibly affect some of our other favorite DC content. All I can say is buckle up, it's going to be a rough ride. Now, like we said yesterday, Batgirl got canceled, and there were a couple of reasons here. We found out initially there was about a $90 million budget attached with this film, which is a pretty big deal, but it didn't really explain why the movie was canceled at this stage. We had heard some positive stuff about test screenings, so it seemed like the movie was due to come out. Now, what's being reported in multiple places is after the Warner Brothers Discovery merger, there is a tax write-down that the new management can use to isolate themselves from some previous debt. Now, the sad part about this is when you do this, it means you can't release it at all. You've taken it as a total loss, so the corporation itself is not allowed to profit from it in the future, meaning they're not likely to spend any money on it or let fans ever see what's been developed. Now, like we said, they had an initial test screening, at least one, and at the time we had heard many positive things. But since the announcement the film had been canceled, we got a bit more of the negative side of the ball. One of the ones that really stuck out to me was Steven Weintraub over at Collider, who posted that he was told not only was it a mess, but the costumes also looked really horrible on film, which is pretty sad because I thought they looked pretty good in the pictures. There's also been other portions of the industry press reporting that it looked cheap and in some cases cheesy, one even comparing it to the Power Rangers, so this all sounds pretty bad to me. Now, at first it seemed like this might be isolated to Batgirl, but since then a lot more has happened. This appears to be very broad-reaching, and we should probably be worried about many other DC projects. Actually, Warner Brothers has already clipped 6 HBO Max original films. Now, none of these were superhero films, but it is a significant number, and the list included Moonshot, The Witches, Lockdown, Supernatural, Charm City Kings, and American Pickle. So this begs the question about all of our favorite DC projects, and I'm gonna have to tell you guys, I'm hearing some really bad news. Now, there are multiple reports that are going around that one series has already been scrapped, and that's the Green Lantern series many of us were looking forward to. Apparently, the announcement has not dropped yet, but we should be getting something official from them soon, but it looks like this series is already dead. Additionally, several other projects I think are really in danger because they haven't gotten very far out of the gate. This includes Black Canary, Static Shock, and Zatanna, all of which have not even gone into principal production yet. So if they're going to send other projects out to pasture, they look like a high probability. One of the upsides I do see is the fact that Blue Beetle has already finished principal photography and moved into post-production. This movie could also very well get clipped by Warner Brothers, we'll have to wait and see, but there was some really positive feedback on what people saw, so that may save the film a little bit. We actually have heard a little bit about how Warner Brothers is looking at cultural impact from films being a much bigger deal, and that might be what actually saves Blue Beetle, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, as far as some other shows that are already in production, there's no word about Titans or Doom Patrol as of yet. They're both in production now, so I don't think they'll clip them mid-season and just let that go to waste, but it does cause me concerns about future seasons as well as how much money HBO Max will be willing to spend in post-production. Now, this brings us to a very important detail. On this channel, that is Young Justice. Let's be clear, it hasn't been canceled because it was just ordered for season 4. There's nothing to cancel. But this does leave us in a very weird spot. This delay obviously makes all of us very nervous about the future of the series. But if I'm being fair, it would make sense that HBO and Warner Brothers Discovery would clean house before making any new moves or ordering new stuff to series. Unfortunately, this leaves us in limbo, which isn't so great, but really it's better than being tossed on the shelf like Batgirl at this point. There's also the possibility that Young Justice doesn't return to HBO Max, because there might not be an HBO Max. Now, there's another rumor going around that might be driving all of this, and it started circulating earlier today. Now again, rumor. We don't know this is true, but let's dive into the whole thing because it has serious implications for all of our shows. Thursday is the WB earnings call. Often, this is where a lot of plans are revealed to investors and find their way to the public. Now, there's a rumor that HBO Max itself could be in jeopardy. Remember, the key thing here is Warner Brothers was bought by Discovery, not the other way around. HBO Max may actually be folded into Discovery Plus, and that's not even the worst of it. With this integration, HBO Max could get rid of all scripted content, focusing on the format Discovery does with reality unscripted series. That's right, pretty much every show on HBO Max, according to this rumor, could actually be in jeopardy. Now, HBO itself is still safe. That's not going anywhere, and part of their plan might be to migrate everything over to the cable service. But it appears it would overall completely demolish the content platform we've been using for the last year or so. I have a sneaking suspicion we'll find out a lot more after that Thursday earnings call. We're likely to get an update on The Flash, the status of HBO and HBO Max, and maybe even some other big announcements. We can all hope for a Young Justice Season 5 announcement, but I don't necessarily think it's going to come at the earnings call. But if we get it, I'll take it. Obviously, we're going to follow all of this very carefully. If you want to get all of your updates on HBO and their DC properties, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and ring the bell for all the updates. But until we get more, what do you guys think? How do you feel about some of the negative feedback that has come to light for the Batgirl movie, given now that the film has been canceled? And which other DC movie were you looking forward to that now appears to be on the scrap heap? Tell me what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you hit like, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates. Peace.